bit more time on the clock, but what's the thought process seeing Kyle go out there and sending him out there and seeing what he did?
What did he say I said last week?
What?
What did he say I said last week at the end of the half? I think it was the same conversation. All right? And when you got that guy, man, you just believe in him. And I said, man, do you feel really good about this? If you do, let's go for it. Man, I trust you. And, you know, it's kind of what we did. And so, again, he's earned the right to have that. And you got to, again, you win football games with your A players making A plays in A moments. And, you know, obviously Kyle has proven now over the course of time here to be able to do that in a really powerful way for us.
And then your pass rush shows up in a big way immediately when they have time to maybe go do, you know, if the guys won 50 games as a starting quarterback.
Yeah.
Can you talk about McDonough and just the defense in general on that last
Yeah,
one?
you know, I feel like, you know, McDonough's been coming every week. You know, I wish we would have had him a little bit earlier. He came in May. You know, we only had him for the start of camp in June or for the start of our summer program. But boy, he's been a really powerful figure in our locker room. What he's about, what his work ethic's like, and to be able to watch some of those things today for really our whole football team continue to unfold under the lights of, man, powerful moments, big games, big opportunities to grow forward. And I think our team continues to have that resolve of, man, growing itself forward. And obviously that'll be a big challenge for us again this coming week. But man, can you have enough courage to keep staying the course and keep improving? But he certainly has done that in an awesome way. I think, you know, obviously Dom, I think, showed up big really throughout the entire football game. Again, another guy that's worked so hard for these moments to be his best. And we'll need that to continue forward.
Gabe Burkle's catch off the tip, is that just one of those moments that you need to win one of these games?
Well, I think that was balancing out some of the other things that were happening in the game. You know what I mean? So something had to go positive for us because it was like we were playing two teams, it felt like at times. So it was nice that the ball bounced our way in a positive way in a great moment. So I figured Gabe would do that for us. So we were really grateful for his intent.
Did you feel like the ability to stop the run in the first half compared to the second half was one of those differentiations?
Yeah, you know, I think, again, I thought our ability, we were going to have to do that really well in the football game. And, you know, we were more consistent at times than other times in the game, but when we needed to be that most, I thought we did a really good job.
You talked about it, or mentioned it, feeling like you're playing against two teams, but I'll let that linger. But how did
Let it linger.
How did you feel like they managed the flow of the game? Because it seemed like a lot was going in your direction, and then it went the other way.
Yeah, I think, again, that's football, and that's how it rolls sometimes. And, you know, the reality of our poise in the moment, that we knew this is an emotional game, so many unexpected things are always going to happen, and that's football in general, 60 minutes of it. And that's where I really am proud of what I've watched this football team for 9 months really pound away at their habits, who they are in the moment, having resolve when things don't go their way, and just having the ability to keep playing. And so I thought our kids handled themselves exceptionally. I thought there was great poise. I don't think our kids ever flinched. And again, we're going to need more of that. We're going to have to continue to be that, but that's how you practice on Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday. That gives you the confidence to show up in those moments. And, you know, when adversity hits, not flinch, just keep playing. And I thought our kids did a great job of that today.
Kyle's kick being from 54, did that give you a little bit of deja vu after 54 last year at Kennett?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know deja vu just because it was so different. There was so much time on the clock. I think a lot of our thinking was, man, how are we going to make sure we do a great job handling this, you know, when this goes in, or if it doesn't go in, man, we still had 3 timeouts. How are we going to execute the game plan? So I think a lot of that conversation, just because it was different, but obviously for Kyle, you know, it means the world to him and it means the world to us. And man, he's a young man that continues to do really positive things.
Defensively, you didn't really have an idea of this Iowa offense coming in, I think, but get into maybe the adjustments that the defensive side of the ball you guys made there, and then at halftime, kind of how that went.
Yeah, you know, I don't know if we were so surprised about what we saw. You know, I think some of you know, there's enough newness into that offense. Certainly, we have so much respect for their quarterback, and he's a tough kid. I mean, I thought he was awesome today, and I know Rocco and him got to meet each other a little bit at the Vanning camp this past year, and I think Rocco has the utmost respect for him too. And so, you know, what he's about, what he stands for, you knew you were going to have to play 4 quarters of great football, and he was going to give his team a great chance to win football games, and he'll continue to do that.
Matt, Gabe Burkle was obviously no diamond in the rough when when he joined you guys. But what did you see in him years ago, and has he progressed faster than maybe you would have thought?
Yeah, I think I go back to this last year for Gabe, and the one thing he always has been from day one, and I think this is what we loved about Gabe, is who he was. Gabe's family went through some tough times. His mom went through a really tough car accident. I think his junior year of high school, he tore his ACL. So he faced a lot of adversity in high school. And he had a great senior year, and it was one of my favorite things about Gabe. Every time you met with him, he just had this incredible spirit about himself. And when he came here to Iowa State, he's worked. I mean, he's a 4.0 student here. He is addicted to being his best. And I think one of the things that's been so fun for me is, last year we lost a tough game to Texas Tech here at home. And, Gabe, I think there was a ball that got punched out on like 4th and 1. I think Ben had gotten hurt that game. Gabe took over the full-time role as the tight end, and nobody, and that certainly wasn't the reason we lost the game, but obviously, man, when something doesn't go well, you're always, you're tough on yourself. And I just remember his resolve coming back from that. And if you watch how our football team played down the stretch last year, Gabe Burkle was the difference. He was the difference in Miami, playing Miami. He was the difference against K-State, and that guy's been a difference maker. So I think getting thrusted into the spotlight and being ready for his moment, he's done an unbelievable job. I think he's playing great football for us, and we feel really confident, man. We feel like we got 2 of the best tight ends in college football right now between him and Ben, and those guys continue to make huge plays, not just in the pass game, but certainly in the run game as well.
Coach, you've talked so much about this first 4-game stretch, to be 75% of the way through it and 3-0. Do you feel any relief having that?
No, honestly, I probably feel a little concerned. I don't think we were great in the second half. I think that, there's probably for us, our awareness of like where we are right now, our toughness of like, how can we do right tonight? How can we be ready tomorrow? I think this football team is going to have a lot of questions to answer next Saturday. We're going on the road. You're going, obviously, last time we went on the road and played, I think in a non-Power 5 school, we got beat. There's a lot of challenges at hand. And so I think physically, I would say I'm a little concerned about where our football team is going into this week. And we're going to have to do a great job, the head coach, our staff, our kids. But we got a great opportunity to grow forward and kind of show our toughness here a little bit along the way. And like I said, I think if you look at the history of all the teams that played in Ireland, I don't think they've been at this point, right? They haven't gone to 3-0. So this will be a great challenge for this football team, and see if we can continue to move ourselves forward. And we have to get better. It's still the early part of the season. I think that's the biggest challenge. Great teams get better. Are we continuing to get better? Or are we too tired because what's gone against us? So we'll see. I think we'll have to answer that question next Saturday.
Matt, so much had been made coming into this game. Anytime this game is a name, it's been since 2011 or it was, that Iowa State has won. To get that narrative killed, what does that mean to you, your program, and to send these fans home happy for the first time in 14 years?
Yeah, and we talked about it a little bit this week. When you go over to Ireland and you see almost 20,000 Iowa State fans that, put up the money to do that, what this fan base has done for our football program over the course of, our 10 years here. When there was no belief in Iowa State football, they gave you something to build on. And to be able to give them some special moments, and that was really important. We talked about that as, given this great fan base who's already given us a great deal so far this season, to try to give them something to be really proud of, and hopefully we did that today.
Matt, you mentioned that the second half could have been better. Just what do you have to say about the way that your team handled the poise and just kind of put themselves in position to win this game?
Yeah, I think there's great mental toughness right now with our football team, and that part I really appreciate. And you had to be mentally tough there in the second half. And I thought our kids' character showed through the second half of the football game. I think there was a little bit of physical fatigue that first time I've seen it all fall. And again, third game going into fourth game, and we're going to have to be great, and we're going to have to do a great job of filling their tank up here this week to give ourselves a chance against a great opponent this coming Saturday.
Hi, Coach. Earlier in the week, you talked about needing to kind of meet Iowa's consistency. Now that you've won back-to-back against them in 3 of 4, What do you think that says about the growth of your program over the last couple of years?
Yeah, again, I know I said this when we played K-State, those are programs for the last 30 to 40 years that have stood for something. And Iowa's no different. What Coach Ferentz is about, obviously what he's about to do is really special. And the respect that I have for coaches that have done it the right way and stand for what's right is powerful. So when you play against those kind of people and those kind of teams, it really measures who you are. Where are you? Where's your program? Where are we with our detail? And especially sometimes especially when you play them so early, right? I mean, man, those are hard things to do and play really good teams out the gate. Man, we've had to play 2 great teams early on, and so it at least gives us real evaluation of where are we at, how do we get better, how do we grow ourselves forward. Go ahead, Scott.
Matt, when you look at the last couple of years, you've been able to beat your 2 biggest rivals, or 2 teams you can really measure yourself against in Kansas State and Iowa. And you look at kind of earlier in your career, there might be a play or 2 that just went against you, and those losses now have turned into wins.
Yeah.
What has helped you get over the top in these last 3 to 4 years to where you're winning these games rather than one play getting you beat?
I think a little bit, and Scott, I think I said this maybe last year a little bit or along the way, and I think this is real. At a place like this, you got to learn the hard way, right? There's no instant gratification, and I think that's been one of the great blessings to be here now 10 years of like, what's it take to win? What's it take to get people to believe in our program? What's it take people to, man, what's it take for us to win football games? Man, what's it take for us to sustain success? Man, when you do win, they want to put you back in the box. So now you're getting everybody's best shot, and we had to learn that the hard way. And that's the head coach, right? I mean, that's me as much as it is anybody else. And so I think the reality is having the continuity and the consistency to understand, what are we? What's it going to take to win football games here? How do we develop a plan from January through, the 12 months we're guaranteed every year to, build the young men in our program, build the journey of the collective whole of the football season, and how do you do that the best to give your kids the best chance to be successful? And I would say, it's taken us every step of the way to do that. And not that we didn't know how to do that, but doing it here, doing it with this program and in this place, I think that's really helped us. And listen, as you know, you guys have all covered us. It hasn't always been perfect, and we've had to have some hard moments, and then we've had to learn. And hopefully we don't have to have many of those hard moments, obviously, going forward, but we may. And the ability to be humble enough to learn from them, grow from them, and then get better from them, I think that's helped us. And it's been great to have continuity with our players and our staff to be able to work through those things together.
All right, I think that's